Yeah, so in our community, the stigma is crazy. You know,
Mhm.
especially growing up as a kid. I remember if you had any type of mental thing,
Ugh,
if you had any
gosh.
type of thoughts about doing anything, people label you as crazy, or not knowing that
Mhm.
it's like a lot of people that commit suicide. I learned from the military, it's an imbalance in
Mhm.
your brain. They can't even help themselves. They don't even know what's going on at the time, so that's why they need help.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think. Oh my gosh, when you talk about the stigma, and I'm glad that more people are open to talking about like mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because the thing with suicide too is a lot of people don't think that there are signs,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
But there are signs. There are changes in people's behavior sometimes. There's changes in the way they act, the way they talk. There's changes in their mood, right? They might be somebody that you thought was chill that became highly irritable, or somebody that was highly irritable that became real chill. And a lot of times, especially when people experience depression, um, they when you see that positive, a lot of people call it that positive change, like, yo, they were depressed and we noticed a change for the better. They were upbeat, they were coming to visit, they were doing this, and we thought they were good. But that's actually a sign as well, right, that they've come to terms with their decision to commit to die by suicide. So we're changing our language from committing suicide to dying by suicide, right? And they follow through with it because they've come to term. Now they're making amends, like they're going to everybody, I love you, they're giving away their stuff, right? They're
Yeah.
changing the way they talk and
Yep.
so
That's
on.
that's one.
And
That's
people
one
see that as
I learned about.
improvement,
Hmm.
but it's really showing that they've come to term with their decision.
Yeah, I had I had a few friends from the military that committed suicide. One of them was a real close friend of mine. I remember when I was on my workout journey, and I was working out constantly. I used to talk to him like every morning on my way to the gym, and we stopped talking like every morning to every other morning. Then it went from every other morning to once a week, and once every blue moon. And one day I'm coming home from the gym. I called his phone. His wife answered the phone, told me that he killed himself.
Mm,
You know, I mean, I didn't see it coming.
mm,
Plus, he was never a guy that it crossed my mind to worry about doing something like that because he
yeah.
was never that type of guy. I guess he was never sharing his thoughts or how he feel and unhappiness. He was always the encourager, always telling me,
Yeah.
"Yo, you gotta do this, man. You gotta make sure you do this, make sure you do that." So that was shocking to me
Hmm.
that he actually did that.
Yeah, and that's a common thing that people say, like they never really see it coming because this person was so strong,
Hmm.
right? Or this person was the one pouring into them. And sometimes you know how people always posting on the internet like, "Oh, check on your strong friends."
Yeah,
Like it's really a thing,
that's true. Yeah.
right? We all deserve, like I was saying earlier, community. Like we all deserve a safe space, and sometimes literally just checking in on someone, like, "Yo, how you doing today?"
Yeah.
Or even in that situation, yo, I noticed that, we went from talking every day to every other day. You good? Like checking in on those people and seeing how they're going. And sometimes it really just happens to where, a lot of times when people die by suicide, they just feel like that's the best decision for them. This is their best way to end the pain that they're
Going through.
experiencing,
Yeah.
right? So it's a decision that they make because they feel like it's the best decision for them, and it's hard to deal with. It's hard to cope with, and people are like, "Yo, I just can't understand why someone would do that." And the myth is, you have to have a mental health diagnosis to commit suicide. That's not true,
That's not. Yeah.
right? There's a myth that people who die by suicide are weak. Like, no, they feel like that's their strongest act that
Hmm.
they can commit to, and
That's the
it's
only
really,
thing. That's their last resort.
it is,
They don't know what
it
else.
is, yeah.
I've seen. I've known more since joining the military. Yet now I've known more people that kill themselves than anything, and I was under the stigma of a while that I think only white people kill themselves.
Oh Lord,
And then I
gosh.
realized that, like when you were saying earlier, that suicide rate in black men are up.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
it's I can see it
Yeah,
because I see a lot of. I've seen a lot of stories, hear a lot of stories of what happened to this dude who used to be in the military. Oh, he killed
yeah.
himself, or he
Hmm.
did this, or he rode his bike into a wall, or straight on into a straight collision to a truck. And you're like, what?
Hmm.
So.
Yeah. And that kind of goes back to the stigma again, too, right? Because black men are supposed to be strong. You're not supposed to show feelings, right? Especially if you grow up like in a Caribbean home, like Lord.
Oh yeah,
It's blasphemy.
You tell them fools you
you
feel any type of mental anything.
Oh my gosh, go
they'll
depression
probably,
the dish.
they'll make it worse.
Like, no, for real. So
Yeah.
I think it's normalizing those conversations because it is increasing in black men. And like you said, it's really having those conversations and making it known that, yo, if you're not good, there's ways to get help, especially in the military. Because when you think about PTSD, it's like high in the military, right? And suicide and PTSD, they correlate highly, right? So, and there might be some traumatic brain injury or something like TBI based on the different jobs that you have in the military and so on. So there's a lot of things that's happening. And when you come out of the military, shoot, you got to deal with life, right? You got to reintegrate into society, your family,
friends,
like your
relationships,
like, yeah, it's a lot.
That's bills,
it's a lot.
Car payments. You got a leak in the house that you ain't planned. Just a whole bunch of stuff that you go through, and then that one thing add on to the bunch of things that happen into the military, and push you overboard.
Yeah. So it's really, I mean, I think they're doing a little bit better trying to really integrate mental health services in different fields. But I think the big problem is that it's so reactive. A lot of times something drastic has to happen for them to be like, these individuals need help, right? And just the access. I just think about a veteran that was trying to, get my services, and the hoops that you got to jump through.
Yeah, because that happens all the time, man. And I don't know why these guys have a unlimited bank account to do stuff that they want to do stuff with, but when it comes to the veteran, they makes it so difficult. Like I know a guy that went to the hospital and he kept going and going for treatment, and he couldn't get the treatment because no one would see him. And then when he tried to go outside of the VA, they kept running him around in circles. So he went there and killed himself.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Stuff like that, and it still doesn't ring an alarm to them that they should probably fix the problem. Because you shouldn't go to the VA and they tell you that, we can't see you for 3 months. Like, what's gonna happen to you in 3 months?
Yep. And then there's this process that you got to go through if you use someone external, right? It's a lot, and I think it kind of goes back to that capitalistic view of everything is about building a bank account.
Yeah. I remember at one point that it was supposed to be much easier. They're supposed to give you a card, and when it gets approved, you give that card to the people, and then all of a sudden that just went away. So I don't know. Yeah. I guess with each president take over and each person they put in charge of the VA, at some point you think it'll get better, but it just seems like it just constantly get worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.